So, random thing. My buddy Mark and I from the Black Friday haul video the other day were having a conversation, and I basically told him, like, in terms of, you know, women, because, you know, guy talk, and I was like, well, I don't really have a type, you know, it's not my thing. He's like, no, you definitely have a very, very specific type, and I could see that from day one. And I was like, really? Do I? And he laid out exactly, like, the type that I have. And I was like, wow, that is a weirdly specific, like, oddly specific. Where in the world would the roots of that come from? You know? And then I popped in the 4K disc of Cloverfield and rapidly remembered that Beth McIntyre, aka Odette Annabelle, exists. And I went, oh shit! Hey, buddy, if you're watching this, hey, the case is solved. I found where my type came from. I don't think anyone can really blame me, though. But, yeah. So, case solved. The origins of my type were found. Thank you, Odette, for being, well, you. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between. I wasn't originally going to do this video, actually, but in honor of Cloverfield's 13th anniversary, the film that changed my life forever, I figured I should do something, you know? Just give it that tip of the hat that's like, thank you. And on Black Friday, for my Black Friday haul, I picked up the 4K edition of Cloverfield, and I was like, you know what? I want to talk about it, because I put it in, I watched the movie, and, you know, it's still my favorite movie of all time, even though I tell people all the time Lord of the Rings is the greatest film of all time, but my favorite film of all time is and will probably forever be Cloverfield. So I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about the 4K Blu-ray, because sometimes these upscales are good, sometimes they're utter trash. I'm looking at you, Terminator 2 Judgment Day 4K re-release that scammed everybody and made it worse. But the 4K of Cloverfield, I am happy to say, is definitely a good upscale. Now, the hard part is being able to tell when it's a digital camera and when they're using a cinema camera, because that's what I was nervous about. Is I'm like, it's designed to look like home video footage, as all of you who've seen the film know. And some of those shots still look like they were shot in 2008. Some of the shots are definitely touched up a little bit, and also Rob's apartment is ungodly dusty from the 4K. I don't know why I keep holding this. Oh, right, because yes, I definitely want to maybe possibly do an unboxing for you guys. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I see all the hip kids these days are doing unboxings of like Pokemon, Poketron, whatever the hip kids are calling it, cards, Magic the Gathering, all that fun stuff. So I figured I'd do something similar. So yeah, this is the 4K box here, get a closer look. Yeah, it's got the critic praisings, it's basically the exact same one. Not quite holographic, but it is definitely shinier. Yeah, as you can see, it's got all the same stuff as before on the old sleeve. So yeah, there's that. And same thing, I mean, they didn't really spring for it. Standard art. We open it up. Ooh, there's that shiny 4K disc there. And then the old school Blu-ray, literally. I think it's the exact same as even the DVD. So yeah, oh, is something missing? Is something missing? Is it that digital card code to dish out for the boys? Well, ha! I'm sorry, folks, but I actually use my voodoo, so you can go get your digital codes elsewhere, you freaking vultures. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Now, mind you, this is not a review of Cloverfield itself. This is literally me just talking about the 4K and is it worth your money. I paid about $10 for it. And I have to say, yes, it's worth your money if you're a fan of it, but with the caveat, it would be purely on the notion that you just want to watch it in 4K or you're completing your collection, things like that. I personally noticed that while the 4K is upscaled, some of the special effects are more noticeable, which now finally, well, shit, spoiler alert, the semi-truck that crashes when Rob's helicopter is taking off in the final act of the film, yeah, please, people on the internet, stop saying that was Lily's helicopter that was being thrown through there, because the 4K clearly freaking shows that it is not. It is a semi-truck. Oh my god, I have fought with people on forums with that for years. Anyways, back at the ranch. Yeah, there are definitely shots that are much better now in 4K, especially the detail on people's hair is very noticeable. But then when they go for some of the more handheld shots that they used an older camera on, you definitely can tell that they couldn't really do much in the way of 4K upscaling with that. But the upscaling with the visual effects and all of that was a very welcome change, and a lot of it, with the practical effects, it aged gracefully. Cloverfield is amazingly well aged, and that's one of the things every year I watch the film, I make a tradition of it, and I always worry that it's going to show its age, and it really doesn't. Actually, it's gotten better with age, like a fine wine, because one of the things that people had issues with was that nobody in their right mind would film everything that was going on, no matter what the disaster is, ever, and that's just inaccurate for the HUD character. Yeah, well, you know, we now have TikToks of, you know, the world on fire. So, sorry, Cloverfield was just ahead of the curve. But I will say, in terms of bonus features, they don't add any. It's the exact same ones from 2008, but I will say that I appreciate the fact that they included them. I would have liked to see a couple more bonus features, but I guess this isn't exactly a collector's edition or anything like that, so I understand why they just kind of took the DVD bonus features from 2008 and said, yeah, that'll do, because, I mean, there's really no need. But I will say, if you've not seen the bonus features of Cloverfield, go watch them. They're amazingly in-depth. They give you secrets to the lore. They talk about it in detail and how motivated they really were for this film. Which, it just makes me sad at the fact that I'm convinced J.J. Abrams just hates Cloverfield at this point because of his whole move to HBO and Warner Brothers. That just literally leaves Cloverfield tied to Paramount, where now nobody's making it. So, I'm convinced that J.J. Abrams just hates Cloverfield after all of the missteps and misdirections that he's done, and that just makes me sad, because, you know, it's so close to heart. You know, it is what it is, and, I went on a bit of a tangent there. This is really not like a specific review. This is me just kind of, as they say, word vomiting onto a camera just to talk about Cloverfield on its birthday. I will say that the 4K Blu-ray of Cloverfield is absolutely worth its money. And if you have a spare $10 and you've never seen the film, again, Cloverfield is not for everybody. I've always said that, because there's so many people, if I tell them my favorite movie is Cloverfield, they go, oh, that? And I'm just like, yeah, I know, it's not for everybody. But it worked, like, hell for me. It changed the way I saw the world. Pick it up for $10. And yes, it does look glorious in 4K, and there are definitely shots that you can tell they couldn't as upscale much, but I will say the practical effects and all of that keep it holding strong, and so I really hope that you enjoyed this kind of random video. It was literally something that I came up with while I was watching the film on its anniversary. So, I tip my hat to you, Cloverfield. Right here, our old buddy Clover. I tip my hat to you. Happy birthday, Cloverfield. You changed my life. You helped me shape a lot of my channel with some of my views and theories and all of that. And you made me who I am as a filmmaker. And on the bonus features, some of the producers, well, one of the producers talks about how he can't wait to look back in a certain amount of time and see how many people were shaped by Cloverfield, and wanted to go out and make movies of their own. Well, if you're watching this, producers of Cloverfield, you have one right here. I made one of my first movies, Demo Dawn, at the age, well, when Cloverfield came out. When Cloverfield came out, I went out and made a monster movie of my own. It's really bad, but it really shaped me into who I am as a filmmaker. So, I tip my hat to you, Cloverfield. You really made me, well, me. So, happy 13th birthday. I love you. And for all the rest of you, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell notification. It's what all the hip kids are doing. Love you guys. Watch Cloverfield.